In December of 1930, a 9-year-old Chicago girl stepped before a WGN radio microphone for the first time in the role of Little Orphan Annie. Within months, she had started a revolution in radio advertising. With the help of a powerful Chicago ad agency and the coast-to-coast facilities of the National Broadcasting Company, Shirley Bell proved that radio could sell to kids. Her sponsor was Ovaltine, and the commercials were hard sell. As Shirley found out, radio was a hardball business. But Rich Samuels assures us that our Chicago Stories feature tonight has a happy ending.
First word, 24, 12, 12.
A coded message comes from the loudspeaker. Only kids understand it. Kids who belong to Little Orphan Annie's secret society. Ovaltine is their drink of choice. A Villa Park factory cranks out the milk fortifier night and day and ships it nationwide. Silver-tongued WGN announcer Pierre Andre induces kids to consume even more Ovaltine.
Because every cupful of Ovaltine gives you important minerals and vitamins and things.
He's aided by child actors who participate in Ovaltine radio commercials.
Boy one, that was me. The sound man's going with a tub of water, running his hands through it. Boy one says, "Beat you to the raft." Boy two, "Oh no, you won't." Ready, set, go. Boys jump in. Sound man splash, splash, flash. Boys close on mic panting. Ha, ha, ha. Sound man scrambling on the raft. He scrambled on a wooden board. Boy one, "See? Told you so." Boy two, "Ah, you always win." Pierre, "Yes, and you can be a winner too when you drink Ovaltine."
So ask your mother to get you a can of Ovaltine at her drug or grocery store right now.
Who's that little chatterbox, the one with pretty auburn locks? Whom do you see? It's Little Orphan Annie.
Little Orphan Annie was the radio version of Harold Gray's comic strip. WGN first aired Annie in December of 1930. NBC picked up the program a few months later and aired it nationally. And a 9-year-old Chicago schoolgirl in the role of Annie became part of the sponsor's incessant efforts to convince kids that Ovaltine was something they had to drink.
It was the children's soap opera, I call it, of that time. It was 5 days a week, and the children were encouraged to listen from one day to the other.
Don't you worry about the lead in my feet, Joe. We've been running a long ways. I've just been saving myself.
Well, there's no need in saving yourself any longer.
The serial chronicled the endless adventures and narrow escapes of Annie and her friend Joe Corntassel.
And the children couldn't wait for the radio program to come on in the evening, and it was adventure, and then premiums offered.
In particular, shake-up mugs to encourage increased Ovaltine consumption.
And all you had to do, as Pierre Andre, the announcer, would say, is cut out the thin, round aluminum seal from under the lid of a can of Ovaltine.
Then mail it in to Little Orphan Annie, Chicago, Illinois.
And you'd get one of these shake-up mugs, a Little Orphan Annie shake-up mug. And I had one. All the kids had them.
And they joined Orphan Annie's secret society. Annie sent them decoder badges so they could translate the secret messages sent in the course of the broadcasts. It was all part of a sophisticated marketing scheme.
And developmentally, this is a great technique for children because they're a member of a club, they're a member of their family, but they may be thinking about their independence. And what better way to get your independence than to have a secret decoder ring and be part of another club, another family in essence, while not leaving your own. So it's a terrific tool for that developmental age.
It was a great commercial success and helped formulate commercial radio as we know it today and premium marketing.
Advertising executive Ann Ashenhurst Hummert managed the Ovaltine account. Her commercial copy typically played on the most deep-seated anxieties of her young audience.
Here's something I want to ask you. Do you get so fidgety and fussy in school that your teacher scolds you for not paying attention? And then when your report card comes, do you get such poor marks that your mother and father worry about it and perhaps scold you too? You know, doctors say that some boys and girls don't get along so well in school because they're kind of nervous and high-strung. And if that's your trouble, perhaps Ovaltine's the thing to help you. Yes, sir. Ovaltine's helped lots of nervous boys and girls to feel better. So ask your mother to let you start on Ovaltine, too. And after a while, just see if you don't begin to feel better and find school lots easier. And perhaps you'll begin to get higher marks, too. Nobody will scold you then.
Regarding Ovaltine, you may wonder, did little Orphan Annie herself drink it?
Not very often. No, I was a very pudgy kid, and I really didn't need the drink.
You know, the problem was you could never get it to mix in a cold glass of milk, and you still can't get it to mix in a cold glass of milk, and that's what the shake-up mugs were for. That was supposed to help, but the darn stuff just wouldn't dissolve. So a lot of it floated to the top.
No matter to most kids, the late humorist Gene Shepard perhaps best understood kids' Ovaltine passion. Here he chronicles the tale of Ralphie, a kid from Northwest Indiana who never missed an Orphan Annie episode or premium.
The weeks of drinking gallons of Ovaltine in order to get the Ovaltine inner seal to send off for my little Orphan Annie's secret decoder pin was about to pay off.
I got it. Be it known to all and sundry that Ralph Parker is hereby appointed a member of the Little Orphan Annie Secret Circle and is entitled to all the honors and benefits occurring thereto.
Signed, Little Orphan Annie. Countersigned, Pierre Andre, in ink.
12, 11.
And what did that message say? Well, we'll find out later in this broadcast. But first, a word about Ovaltine and its origins. In the late 19th century, Swiss chemist Georg Wander invented a milk fortifier he hoped would end malnutrition worldwide. He subjected germinated barley to a vacuum process that resulted in a thick malt goo he then mixed with eggs and converted to powder form. He called his product Ovaltine. U.S. production in Villa Park began in 1917. Ovaltine is what the domestic version was called. And what made the product such a success were the marketing efforts tied into the Little Orphan Annie radio program. The secret codes and the secret society sold so much Ovaltine here that the marketing techniques were transported to the UK.
First word, 46, 18.
Beginning in 1935, little Brits began decoding as they tuned in to
30,
weekly broadcasts of the League of Ovaltines.
36. And the last word, 6, 10, 36.
Would you like to know a story? Will you share our joy? And game and sport, we're on and keep no merrier children would be because we all drink Ovaltine. We're happy girls and boys.
Back to Ralphie, who's found refuge in the only room in his house where he can decode his first Orphan Annie message in complete security.
Yes, 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 yes.
Be sure to drink your Ovaltine. Ovaltine? A crummy commercial? Son of a bitch.
If you think Ralphie got the shaft from Ovaltine, wait till you hear what Ovaltine did to Shirley Bell. With personal appearances and recording sessions added to her daily live broadcast schedule, she sacrificed much of her childhood to the cause of Ovaltine. Shirley, the sponsor, gave Shirley time off for vacation.
No vacations. My first vacation came in 1940. Prior to that, we were on 52 weeks a year, 5 days a week. Come rain, come shine, whatever, we were there.
At some points in time, did you ever feel that you had to make some sacrifices to keep that job?
Yes, I did, because when we started making recordings, I had to drop out of high school in my sophomore year. I had to be downtown to work at 8 o'clock in the morning. And this lasted at least until 12, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And then we had a little free time until we had to show up at NBC for the afternoon live show. But I laughingly call myself the original high school dropout because of that routine.
Of course, Shirley Bell was making millions for Ovaltine. Shirley was making a bundle for herself.
No. We all received what was known as scale, which was base pay. I personally was afraid to ask for more money, even though I had the lead in the show, because I was afraid of losing my job. My job was too important to me. I was supporting my family. These were hard times, and it was very important that I keep my job, that I was lucky enough to have one at that point of time.
In 1940, Ovaltine gave Shirley Bell the gong. As the clouds of war became darker, Ovaltine figured kids wanted a more timely radio drama. So Ovaltine abruptly dumped Annie.
The makers of Ovaltine present Captain Midnight.
And replaced her with Captain Midnight.
We were never given notice. It was when I got back from my vacation that I found out that my contract was not going to be renewed. And so I was out of a job as well as the rest of the cast.
It sounds that, at least in some respects, the Ovaltine people were not all that nice.
No, they weren't. They were not honest. They weren't even fair.
But Ovaltine knew its business. Captain Midnight offered the same premiums Annie had. The Ovaltine shake-up mugs, memberships in Captain Midnight's secret squadron, decoder badges.
All right, the first word. 24, 22, 8.
The secret messages continued, as did the relentless pitches of Pierre Andre.
Who's the little chatterbox? The one with pretty auburn locks.
Shirley Bell left broadcasting and married. She advised her children not to undertake a career in show business until they'd completed their educations. Ovaltine left Villa Park, but its factory remains, now reincarnated as luxury condominiums. The European Ovaltine is still around, still boasting that malt is its principal ingredient. It's a different story with American Ovaltine, now manufactured in Florida. Sugar, according to the label, has become its most abundant ingredient.
Are you always getting left out of games and sports because you're kind of small and not very strong for your age?
The FCC now bans that kind of advertising aimed at children. The age of Annie has ended, but the carbohydrates are still around in abundance.
This program came to you from Chicago. This is the Blue Network.
Once radio advertisers discovered they could hook kids on radio serials, they set their sights on their moms. The result? Broadcasting's most enduring genre, the soap opera, invented right here in Chicago.